I want to show you the purchasing process in Dynamics GP. This is basically the process. I'm going to enter a requisition. I'm going to have that transferred to a purchase order. I'm going to receive against that purchase order, and then I'm going to match the vendor's invoice to that receipt. So let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is look at requisition entry. This brings up the purchase requisition entry form, and in here I'm going to enter my requisition. Now, let's just enter some information here. And I can enter as many line items as I want to. If I have some idea what the cost is, I can put that in. At this time, I don't have to specify the vendor, but I may want to specify the site ID, so I'm going to enter that. I can leave the vendor blank, and I can leave the shipping method blank. But before this gets turned into a purchase order, I'm going to have to fill this information in. But right now, this is all I need, and what I would do then is just submit this for approval. So I'll do that. Next, let's take a look at transferring that requisition into a purchase order. I'm now logged in as a purchasing person whose ability is to take the approved requisitions and turn those into purchase orders. So let's do that. I'm going to go to the purchasing area page here, and I'm going to look up existing requisitions. Here's a requisition right here. This is the one that we were just working on. So I'm going to select that one. And as I mentioned before, I have to add the vendor ID here, so I can do that. I can do a vendor lookup, look at all my vendors. I'm just going to select this one here. And when I do that, the account number is going to default from the vendor setup card. But I can also change this if I want to. But for now, I'm just going to leave that. And what I'm going to do then is I'm going to turn this into a purchase order. I'm going to go up to Actions here, and I'm going to hit Purchase. And this form shows me the information that's going to be used when this is transferred to a purchase order. And I can look at the various types of information. Here's information on the vendor. Here's information on the item, which in this case is just a non-inventory item that I entered in. I can also look at the requisition that caused this to be a purchase. So if this information is all checked, and you can see that here, this is successfully checked by the system and validated, I can then generate the PO. Now let's take a look at the PO. Here's the purchase order here that was created from the requisition. You can see a link back to the requisition here. I can click on that, and I can link back to the requisition. Here's the requisition here. I can drill down and see the actual requisition itself. So next, let's take a look at the receiving process for this PO. Here's the PO, and I can receive right from this PO. So let me do that. I'll go up to Actions here and receive those PO items. This wizard comes up and allows me to easily select the items that I want to receive. In this case, I'm just going to receive the entire amount here. This will automatically create a receiving transaction for this PO. So when I post it, I can click Post right here or save it into a batch and post it later. I'm going to click Post right now and post it. And when I do that, it's going to update the PO, showing that this item has been received. It's also going to update my inventory or my costs associated with that particular item. The next thing I want to do is match the vendor's invoice to that receipt that I received. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to go to this screen right here. I'm going to look up the vendor and then click Auto Invoice. This is going to show me all receipts that are available for this invoice. This is the one that I have right here. So I'm going to select that, enter the vendor's invoice number, and here's the accounts payable entry that's going to be made when I post this. It's going to relieve that receipt, and it's going to create an entry in accounts payable. So again, I can post this online, or I can save it in a batch and post it later. So I'm going to post it right now. And that's the end of the process. I entered a requisition, I transferred that to a purchase order, I then received that purchase order, and I later matched the vendor's invoice to that receipt. That shows a three-way matching with the purchase order. The simple purchasing process in Dynamics GP will help you control the purchasing process from the requisition to the vendor's invoice.